Hey guys, Blue here, and today I've got a different video for you. And by different, I just mean a different type. Normally I post funny moments with gameplay, but today I want to talk about Chapter 3, Season 3, and my thoughts on it, and what I hope we get in Chapter 3, Season 4. So yeah, let's get into it. So Chapter 3, Season 3, aka Season 21, or Fortnite Vibin, is ending in around 2 weeks. At the time of this releasing, it will be in the last 13 days, which is pretty cool. This season took the spot of the summer season, which after last year with the success of Chapter 2 Season 7, also known as Invasion or the Alien Season, and how awesome that summer event was, it's kind of hard to follow that as a summer season. I have to agree with my brother, nothing will top Chapter 1 Season 5 that just captured the vibe of this summer so well. You know, you had the vacation town, I believe it's Paradise Palms, you had the racetrack, you had the golf course, you had the golf carts, everything just felt right with that one. So I just kind of want to talk about what this season was like for me. So this season followed probably one of my favorite seasons to date, which is Chapter 3 Season 2, aka Resistance, or IO, the season where IO and the Seven fought. It concluded on a really high note with the collision event where we helped pilot the Mecha Team Striker, or Mecha Strike Leader, with Paradigm, and we took down the Imagined Order's terrible doomsday device, the Collider, and it was a really cool finale event. We got hyped to build up to the conflict with Jinno finally. The Foundation and Jones became closer as awesome friends, rather than Foundation seeing Jones as just a means to an end. We saw the defeat of Dr. Sloan as she was crushed, and we saw IO fall apart at our own hands. So that was pretty cool. So even then, without the expectations of a summer season, it was already going to be pretty hard to follow it up. And with the little teaser that went live after the event with the mushrooms, the relaxing river, I was like, this season is going to be a little different. And then the trailer dropped and I was like, oh, it very much so reminded me of Chapter 2 Season 3, which it followed up another, conflict with Shadow versus Ghost, which turned out to be a staged event by Midas himself. But it followed that conflict, and it was just a very casual summer season. So I kind of got those vibes at first. But then the tagline, Vibin, kind of threw me off because it's a shooter, right? It's very hard to have a shooter and, make it chill. Because, the main point is conflict, and if it's like, yeah, we're vibing, we just got done with a war, it would have been better to see the season just take on a bunch of different mini games, perhaps, while keeping Battle Royale as a side focus. But I understand that since the loop is still active, that's why the Battle Royale is still up. So this season, let's talk about, now that we've covered that part, let's talk about what the season was like. So the season brought us a couple new guns, messed around with POIs. It brought us a new area, technically 2 new POIs, 1 if we're being realistic, 2 if we're being generous. Redesigned some, and then it gave us the 5 rotating bloom POIs, and then it also gave us a couple new features. So real quick, going to cover the features. The reality tree is a really cool idea where you tend to the same spot day to day, and it gives you guaranteed loot, which is so pivotal in a battle royale, which is why I can see it was disabled in arenas. I'm actually not sure if it was. Hold on, let me just check that real quick. Was the loot tree disabled in arenas Fortnite? don't think they disabled the loot trees. So whatever. Regardless, it's a really cool idea. Like, you have your consistent drop spot, you have the tree that constantly gives you loot. So I really like that. It was a very fun feature. I hope they keep that around and don't just keep it tied to a season. I mean, the reality tree is an aspect of the 0 point in some way, so I'm sure with the resolution to this season it'll go away, but I really hope they keep it. So the new guns, we had the hammer assault rifle, the 2-shot shotgun, the DMR scoped assault rifle, and the charged SMG, and the, what was the other one? The prime shotgun. All of those were actually pretty cool. Hammer assault rifle felt very balanced, the recoil going mainly up, but it was a very heavy hitting AR, so once you hit those shots, it was pretty rewarding. With the longbow, I play too much Apex. With the DMR, designating marksman rifle, for those who don't know, the DMR was a very interesting type of sniper because it was a nice balance from the scoped assault rifle that Fortnite originally had, which was full auto. This one, you have to pull the trigger multiple times, which feels more akin to a DMR in other games. It was very balanced. The damage to the shots and fire rate, it was very nice. So if you could pull that trigger and keep your recoil, very good weapon. The charged SMG, really fun mechanic, because especially in builds, people are going to be going for those edits on the wall, and I don't play a lot of builds, but I do with my brother sometimes. So when I charge up that SMG, it makes them hesitant to edit. So when you let go of the trigger and you've got it focused on, oh, I just hit my mic. Whatever, I'll leave it in. I just want this to be kind of a more casual video. So when you release that SMG, you're going to release the spray of bullets, and that wholly affects the entire wall that they're holding in it. It's a very nice game-changing weapon. The prime shotgun is a very skilled weapon. So it's one I don't pick up often because that first shot is so pivotal to hitting, because it does so much more damage than the other ones. And it's a very nice addition. I like the idea behind it. I'm just not good with it, so I have less interest in it, but can't deny it's a good weapon. The 2-shot shotgun is absolutely garbage. You hit one shot for 32 and you miss the other one. Doesn't matter if it's the first shot or the second shot, you usually are missing both. And if you're managing to hit 2, great. But from most of the clips I've seen and gameplay with it, it is just a bad gun. And, not every gun is going to be a winner, but considering we had 5 guns and 4 out of 5 were good, I'd say that's pretty good marks. The POIs. The only new one we got was Reality Falls. And honestly, it was such a cool thing at first, but it did nothing with changing itself. I would have liked to see the tree get bigger and grow more as it spread its roots and drew more power from the 0 point, and its power grew as it began to plant its seeds across the island. I would have liked to see the tree grow, because as it is, it's basically just a giant landmark. Kind of reminds me of what was it called? Oh, I don't remember. It was something I landed at in Chapter 1 when Shifty Shaft was going to be overtaken. There it is. It reminds me of the tree in Chapter 1, actually. The one that sat on the hill. It honestly... Pause. I'm going to take a drink. Okay. So it reminds me of that big tree. You had one big tree to get a lot of wood from. And you could hide at the top by landing on it. But that was it. And then you had like 3 chests. And that's really what the reality tree feels like, except a more spread out version. Doesn't really feel like that. I do like that it looks pretty from a distance, but that's really this. It's just there to sit and look pretty. Oh, is it going to stop at 10 minutes? Give me just a second. I'm still figuring out the software. All right, turns out it does stop at 10 minutes, but that's fine. So yeah, the reality tree is just really there to sit there and look pretty. The only other technically new POI would be the return of Lazy Lagoon up at the top right, and it replaced the Daily Bugle. Honestly, really interesting that they went with Lazy Lagoon. Could have just returned the volcano, because that was a really fun area to play in, because especially in zero build it would have been interesting to see because of the bouncing around with the flowing lava. It was really interesting, but still, I'm gonna be generous and say Lazy Lagoon was a new POI despite it being a returning one. As for the 2 redesigned POIs, we saw Greasy Grove get absolutely destroyed by the overgrowth of mushrooms, and I feel like, and I mentioned it in the update day video, I feel like they're going to use that format. They're going to destroy a POI on the map, only 3 buildings, and then they're going to be like, oh, whoa, we need to rebuild this place. So that'll be their way to do the block 2.0. So I feel like that's going to be the next season with the donation boards, and I think I cut it out. Maybe it's still in there. I hope Epic has learned their lesson with the Tilted Towers one, and they fixed how that mechanic works, because it would always go to the center build, which is, I believe, the one they usually want. So you usually see that one win. It was very rare you saw the other 2 options leading the vote. So I hope they've learned their lesson and can get that fixed, but other than that, the new Greasy is fun to play in. And speaking of Tilted Towers, we saw, the war damage get fixed. We saw I think it was tennis court get rebuilt. We saw the new buildings get put back together. We voted on that as a community, regardless of what happened or not. And that was pretty fun. So along with that, there were the 5 bloom POIs that would rotate. An interesting mechanic, but as opposed to my feelings towards Lazy Lagoon, where I wish that it turned into a different POI, I wish that these ones had stayed as one. Like, I wish we had just gotten Logjam Junction off the bat. Wish we had gotten a Coral Castle one off the bat instead of the rotating ones. Like, sure, that was fun gameplay-wise, but sometimes you'd get the same 1 3 in a row, and you'd get like a consistent loot pattern, and you're like, ooh, I'm going to land there. And then it would just get thrown off because it would switch to the other variant the next match. Fun gameplay mechanic. Not very good when you're trying to set up a balanced looting system for your players, but it made sense story-wise. The only other mechanic and item I think they added this season was the reintroduction of Portaforts, which much appreciated in zero build. Gives you a quick cover. And then there it is, the grappling glove. I really like the Spider-Man mythic in Chapter 3 Season 1. So this was just a nice reintroduction, even though it was like they basically changed it at its core, but still fun item. Other than that, oh yeah, I was going to touch on that. The 5 rotating bloom POIs. The only one I really liked was all the ones with the Butter Barn. I didn't really like the Coliseum one. I think I said that in the video. I meant the Coral Castle one. The future one is fine. I really like the Coral Castle and future versions of it. I really wish that we had gotten the Coral Castle one at first, but it's alright. I like how it is now. As for the story, it was pretty interesting. So basically, I won't make this part too long. The 0 point was freed at the end of it, but it started bringing like random relics and people to the island. And the reality's roots changed the POIs. Nothing else really happened important until about a week ago when, I think it was about 2 quest sets ago, the scientist finally discovered that the 0 point was bringing us these items and people to prepare us for something. Then a week ago, the Foundation, Visitors, and Sisters, the Imagined Order, disappeared. And we don't know where they went. As for, the Zero War comics, it was a lot of story revelations, like the sisters are Jinno's kids. Jinno wants perfection across all realities. Paradigm helped design the mech. She and Singularity are not the same person. So yeah, pretty interesting there. But yeah, so Chapter 3 Season 4 could go anywhere, whatever they want to come up with, because it's going to be the fall/Halloween season. So let's rotate over into part 2 of this video, which is my hopes for Chapter 3 Season 4. So we got those few key events, which is Halloween in October, and that's always a big deal. The season will end in late November, early December, so that's close to Creative's release about 2 years ago, I think. No, 3 years ago, I think. 4, actually. Yeah, 4 years ago, because Chapter 1, Season 7 introduced it, and it was... Ooh, that was 2018. God, that's 4 years ago. Wow, I'm old. And then in September, which is when the season will start, a couple weeks into the season, will be Fortnite's 5th birthday, which is really big. That's half a decade of Fortnite existing and being what it is as a gaming phenomena. So they'll probably hit the birthday event, which I've seen people calling for a throwback season. I don't necessarily want that. After what they did with last season, and then the 2 years before, in 3 years, good lord, what they did with season 6 and season 18, which is both seasons strangely had the cubes involved. It was because there was that mysterious element of some dark entity on the island that made those seasons feel very standout and unique to their time. So yeah, I'd definitely like to see them do something creepier. I'd love to see the keeping of the gameplay that I mentioned with the looting trees. What I'd love to see is the actual appearance of the long-awaited villain, Gino. He's the main bad guy in Fortnite. I'd love to see him make his debut in-game, actually. Like, we get a model, we get skin for him. I'd love to see him actually start getting involved in the story, other than be a name drop, a mention, or, he did this, or just being a black shadowy figure at the end of Collision. Or because I think they mention, because a lot of people say they see that gold orb and it's just a fancy theory, I'd really like to see the return of the Cube Queen. She's probably one of my favorite video game antagonists, and she's a pretty fun Halloween villain. Great over the top, wahaha, I'm evil, like most Halloween classic horror villains tend to be, like, oh, I'm Dracula, stuff like that. I'm so stupid. But yeah, both would be great antagonists, and since it was since it is going to be in the fall and Halloween season, I'd love to see some fun items get messed around with. What is it? Oh, yeah, messed around or themed around it. Like, I'd like to see the broomstick return. I'd like to see pumpkins return. I'd like to see a bit from the season. But yeah, that's just my thoughts. And that about wraps up the video. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this different kind of content. Won't be too common. It'll probably be maybe like a week into the season. So closer to, maybe like a week after September, the season 4 starts, I'll do another video like this. But yeah, so after season 4 starts, and then maybe one towards the end of season 4 if I want to do another one. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and hey, maybe even consider subscribing. But with that being said, I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I will see you all next time. Peace.